Michael Jordan said that once I made a decision, I never thought about it again. In this video, I'm going to talk with you about decision fatigue and how it's affecting your productivity and your ability to get things done. So in psychology, there's a term called decision fatigue. And basically, decision fatigue is when you are trying to take on too much. You're overwhelmed. And so you're getting caught up in too many small things. You're getting caught up in lesser goals. And Robert Brault said that the obstacle to getting our goals accomplished is not the goals themselves, but the clear path to lesser goals. So we're taking on lesser goals instead of focusing on the bigger goals. And so as a result, we get into decision fatigue. I'm in a mastermind, and the other day that was brought up in a chat, and somebody said that they were running into decision fatigue. So they're trying to make decisions, but they're basically overwhelmed because they don't know what they're doing or where they're going or what they want to accomplish. And unless they do what Michael Jordan said and make a decision and then don't think about it again and move ahead, then they're going to contemplate it too much. And the reason that this is happening is because we're overthinking. So overthinking is happening because of perfectionism. So if you think about perfectionism, what is perfectionism, or what are things that are perfect? And it's not about when there's nothing more to add. It's about when there's nothing left to take away. That was Antoine de Saint-Exupéry that said that. So if you think about it, it's not about what you're adding. It's not about doing more. It's about doing less. So it's about taking things away, using the 80-20 rule. Why is it stated that 80% of your efforts produce 20% of your results? So you basically need to figure out how to narrow that 80% of your efforts and make it so that it's only your core focus. But if you're overwhelmed, it's because you're trying to make decisions on too many lesser goals, too many things that are smaller and not even valuable for your life or your business if you have one. And if you can get a little bit of control over your decision making and your overwhelm, then you can get the bigger goals done and forget the lesser goals. So if you think about it, you get caught in analysis by paralysis. So you're starting to overthink things. And if you do what Brené Brown does, is you put up a shield, and instead of doing something, you do nothing. So you put up this 20-ton shield, this perfectionist shield that's going to keep you protected. It's going to keep you safe, and it's going to keep you from being hurt. But instead of keeping you from being hurt, it's actually keeping you from being seen. So as you don't make decisions, and you're trying to be a perfectionist and you're overthinking, and then you're getting into decision fatigue, you see how this all connects? It's all going to cause you to step back and not do anything. And if you don't do anything, then of course you don't get any evidence that you're moving forward. And the greatest motivator is progress. And so if you're not making any progress, you're not going to keep doing anything. Why would you? I mean, think about it. If you were approaching somebody for a partnership or even a relationship, and you kept approaching them and you kept asking them and you kept asking them to meet and talk and greet with you, and they keep saying no, and they keep putting up obstacles and roadblocks, eventually you're going to stop. So it's the same thing with decision fatigue. You're not going to do anything because you feel like you're not making any progress. You're not getting evidence of progress, and evidence is always in front of us. In fact, every day you should be looking for a little bit of evidence as to what's going on. You should write down what your progress was for the day. Look at your gains. If you're going to practice what Dan Sullivan and Dr. Ben Hardy teach, that you will measure your gains every day. You'll look at what you're accomplishing every day instead of looking at what you didn't do and measuring that against your goals, because that's an ideal. If you didn't achieve your goal today and your goal is really big, well, guess what? All you should be doing is measuring against what you accomplished that's moving you towards the goal. Get into gain mode. So when you're in gain mode, you're always reflecting on how far you have come since your last effort, whether it's yesterday or the day before or last week or last month. How much progress have you made? Just taking a note out of my life, I ran marathons, and the first time I went running, I was really slow and I was wearing the wrong gear, and the wind was basically catching my jacket. It was so big and like a sail on a boat. And I wasn't moving very fast and I wasn't very effective at running. But then once I got the right gear and I did more practice, I could go further and longer. In fact, the first time I went running with this running club, I got lost. It was dark. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know the roads. I didn't know where to turn. They got ahead of me and I got lost. So that's what can happen to you in your life and your business as well. You can get lost very easily, lost in the overwhelm, lost in decision fatigue, lost in the perfectionism, lost in trying to accomplish things without ever really considering what it is that you're trying to do and measuring your incremental progress step by step by step. So if you think about this just a little bit and realize that you have more power, right? I mean, if you think that you're busy, well, busy implies that you're not in control of your life. If you just say, hey, I'm crazy busy, which a lot of people say to me, then you're not in control of your life. And you're going to get caught in this analysis by paralysis, and you won't be moving forward. And then you'll, at some point in time, you'll want to quit. You'll just throw your hands in the air and say, this is enough. But highly successful people like Michael Jordan, I said, I make a decision and then I don't think about it again. I just move forward, right? That's how you can grow fast. You can go 10 times bigger if you want to. But you have to focus on that 10x, that 10 times growth. Why? Because 2 times growth is manageable and doable, and it's not enough pressure. And you need a bit of a push. So you go 10x and then you make a decision and you start moving progressively towards it. So an easy way to get out of decision fatigue is to use a process of making decisions. And you can ask yourself some effective questions like, do I want to do, be, or have this? And that's usually a yes or no. Is doing, being, or having this going to move me in the right direction in my life? Yes or no. Is doing, being, or having this going to do any harm or violate anybody else's rights? Yes or no, right? And then, is doing, being, or having this going to cause me to feel good? Yes or no? Those are 4 simple questions that you can ask yourself. And if you get 3 yeses and a no, it's not going to violate other people's rights or do any harm against anybody else, make a decision and go. That's it. So you can use this little process to get yourself into forward movement, progress. Because if you do not, you won't be motivated. And motivation is limited by your willpower. So if you have willpower, you have a lot when you wake up in the morning, as you know, because you have nothing in your way except for your limited beliefs and what happened yesterday and perhaps what's going on in the world. But other than that, you have lots of willpower. But as the afternoon and the evening comes, your willpower wears down as people will ask you questions and you look at more messages coming in. And, if you're looking at news media, you know that what bleeds leads. So you can just turn that off. There's no point in looking at it. If it's not going to help your life and business move ahead right now, then just ignore it. And if there are people in your lives that are gossiping and that are negative thinkers, and when you get around them, all they do is just pick and complain and talk about things that are in a negative way that cause you to feel bad being around them, then just don't be around them anymore and don't listen to them anymore. You have to shut that off. Otherwise, it's going to affect your decisions and your ability to attract the kinds of things you want. Ultimately, we all have a frequency. We all have an energy, and we're exuding this every single day. My mentor, Bob Proctor, taught me this, and he taught that we have a mind that operates like a radio station. So it's like a radio tower, and we're sending and receiving signals every single day, every single moment. And so think about it from that context. If you're thinking thoughts that are not moving you forward, that are not progressive, that are getting you to this overwhelm and decision fatigue, then you're sending out a signal that's going to attract those kinds of opportunities to you. If you think about it, if you like classical music, you know how to tune your radio to the classical music station. You know what it is. If it's 93.5, you're going to dial that in and listen to that music. If you want to dial yourself into the kinds of people and circumstances and opportunities that will help you progressively move forward, then you have to dial your mind into that so that your thoughts are projecting out the energy and the frequency that are going to attract the kinds of people that will help you move forward and make the kind of progress that you need. And it's always possible. You know that. think for a moment just about circumstances in your life. Maybe one that seems like it's serendipitous. Something where things just aligned just right. Somebody helped you out, or an opportunity came in, or something miraculous that happened. You know, like when I was in my 20s, I had the opportunity to, to go wherever I like with my car. I had a new car. I had this beautiful $15,000 car. That was my first new car, and I thought it was amazing. And I had that car, so I could take my girlfriend around and do whatever I want. But I was also paying for that car, and I was paying $700 a month, and I was working in a job that was only paying $2,000, plus I had rent. And so, you know what? I had to really pinch sometimes, and I was buying my own food and just taking care of everything that was required to live. But there was a time when I paid the payment on the car, paid for my rent, and paid for my food and groceries, and I didn't have any money left over for gas. So I wasn't going to drive anywhere, and my girlfriend was about an hour and a half away from me. And so I decided I wasn't going to go, and I let her know that. But I really wanted to go. So my desire was there, and I was sending out this frequency, this energy that, I really wanted to go see this person and be with them, but I didn't have the means. And then I get a call, and it was from her father, and he asked me if I was willing to paint the room in her house, at the house he was renting at university. And I said, sure, what's involved? And he told me that the landlord was willing to pay $300 for me to paint that room, and, cash. And so here I was, an opportunity right in front of me that was going to solve the problem that I had. I didn't have money for gas. And then, as you could guess, I drove down. I was given the paint. I did the work. I was paid cash. I had money for gas. I had enough gas to get there, but I didn't have enough money to get to and from there, and then go to my job and so on. So, there's always a way, but you cannot let life get in your way. Amateurs let life get in their way, and professionals schedule their day and schedule their lives and set intentions and focus on what they want intentionally. And when decision fatigue comes up, they solve it. An easy way to solve it is just to write down all the thoughts you're thinking on a notepad or a piece of paper. Just write them down, get them out where you can see them. And then once you have them in front of you, you can do something about them. You can start thinking about solutions and options and opportunities and ways to solve these things. But if they're not somewhere in front of you, they're not tangible, then you're going to get caught into decision fatigue. They're just going to be spiraling around in here and swirling around in your mind, and you're probably not going to do anything because there's too much confusion. And just remember, from chaos and confusion comes order. So if you want to have order, you have to start with chaos and confusion, but then you break it down into something that you can handle. So if you write down all your thoughts and then you start saying, what do I want? Or what can I ignore right now? What do I need to, what's my priorities? And then you start asking yourself effective questions, then you'll start moving in the direction of the goals that you want, and you'll make progress and you'll feel good. The evidence will show up, and then you'll make decisions much easier and faster because you won't have time to overthink things once you're in progress. Once you're motivated, once you're moving forward, you won't have time to sit around and think about things for too long and try to be a perfectionist. You have to move forward quickly and fast. Why? Because things are moving faster for you. That's what happens when you're in progress mode. You are moving faster and you're making more steps easier and quicker, and you're solution oriented. There's two perspectives. You can be in resistance mode or receptive mode. And when you're in receptive mode, you're inviting the right circumstances, opportunities, you have faith, you step forward, and you start seeing the results. And as you start seeing results, you keep stepping forward, right? It's just like walking in the fog. All you need to do is see a few feet in front of you. But if you're walking and it starts to get, marshy and muddy and wet and so on, well, you're going to stop and you're going to take a different path. You don't stay on that same path. Why? Because it's going to get wetter and you're going to get wet and perhaps, get stuck in the mud, and you don't want that. So what do? You look for another angle, another way out. And that's what we're talking about here. You can do this, and all you need to do is just stop, pause, back up, write your thoughts down, start crossing off things, take things out that don't matter, that aren't significant, that aren't part of your goals, your priorities. Take them right out of your life instantly. Just cross them off. Say, this is going to be for later. I'm going to procrastinate this on purpose. I don't need to deal with this right now. Why? Because I have other priorities and they're going to make me feel good. They're going to help me to progressively move forward. And I won't stay in this anti-decision loop, because it's a feedback loop and you don't want to get caught in that. So if you're running into decision fatigue, you can apply these principles and don't go for the lesser goals. The lesser goals are the little things, the easy things that seem like they're moving you forward. They keep you busy, right? They're not actually moving you forward. You are actually you're not taking action. You're just in motion. There's a difference between motion and action. And so you want to be in action and getting some results and seeing evidence. If the evidence isn't what you want, then you go back to the start again and figure out what you need to do. But don't just get caught in motion. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. And then you won't feel good. And if you're not feeling good, there's no motivation to keep going. You won't make any further progress. So decision fatigue is here now. It's probably going to be here for many years. You might as well just get accustomed to it and know that it's here and recognize it. And when you see it, call it. So that's me overthinking. That's me trying to be a perfectionist. That's me trying to overthink and overdo things. And now I'm going to do things that are easier because I think that's going to make me feel good. So if you think that doing the easier things are going to make you feel good, maybe just do one of them, but then start working on the things that are bigger and more focused on your objectives, and then look for the evidence for those things working out. Every day you should be projecting, set your intentions, look for the evidence. That's your that's what's showing up for you, right? Set your intentions, and then you project forward with intentions, and then you reflect on what happened. What gains did you make? Always keep yourself in gain mode. And there's one other thing you can do, which is really powerful, which is take a record of all the things you're proud of. If you're a parent like me, you're probably proud of the birth of your children, especially if you're a mother. But if you're a father as well, if you have that sense of pride, that's really empowering. That will carry you forward. That will move you forward. So write down all the things you're proud of. It doesn't matter whether you received a trophy or an MVP award in sports or awards in school, whatever it is, all those things are a sense of pride. It doesn't matter what it is, but it will give you that motivation to take the bigger steps. I wrote a poem in grade 8. And in grade 9, I received a poetry book from my principal. I thought I was getting called to the office because I got in a lot of trouble when I was in grade school. But, at high school, first day I got called in the office and I was given this poetry book. And I was thankful for that. but that's a sense of pride. Why? Because I wrote something and then it was acknowledged and it was published. So all those little things can matter to you, and they will help you move through decision fatigue when you run into them. So if you can apply this, you can overcome decision fatigue, and you might even squash it, and it might not even be part of your life. You might do what Michael Jordan did, which was made a decision and then just forget about it. Just move ahead. Just, draw a line in the sand and then move forward. So if you like this video, great. Let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on my next video. Enjoy your day.